Hello everyone. Welcome back to English Lab. Today we're going to talk about something very important for your English learning journey. We're going to talk about TOEFL English listening practice and how you can learn English step by step. I am so happy you are here with me today because learning English is a beautiful journey and I want to help you every step of the way. Before we start, please take a deep breath and relax. Learning a new language takes time, and that is completely okay. You do not need to rush. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be patient with yourself and keep practicing. Today, I will speak slowly and clearly so you can understand everything. If you need to listen again, that is great. Listening many times is actually a very good way to learn. So, let us begin this journey together. First, let me tell you what TOEFL is. TOEFL stands for Test of English as a Foreign Language. It is a test that many students take when they want to study at universities in English-speaking countries. The test has 4 parts. These parts are reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Today we will focus mainly on listening, but I will also teach you many things about learning English in general. The listening part of TOEFL is important because you need to understand what people say in English. You need to understand lectures, conversations, and discussions.
But do not worry.
Even if you are not taking the TOEFL test, the practice methods I will teach you today will help you improve your English listening skills. These methods will help you understand English movies, English songs, English podcasts, and real conversations with English speakers. So this lesson is useful for everyone who wants to learn English, not just for people taking the TOEFL test. Now, let me ask you a question. Why is listening so important when you learn English? Think about this for a moment. When you were a baby, how did you learn your first language? You learned by listening. Your mother spoke to you. Your father spoke to you. Your family members spoke to you. You listened for many months before you even said your first word. Listening came first. Then speaking came later. This is the natural way to learn any language. But many people forget this natural way when they try to learn English. They try to speak immediately, without spending enough time listening. This makes learning very difficult and frustrating. If you want to speak English well, you need to listen to English a lot. You need to fill your ears with English sounds, English words, English sentences, and English rhythms. The more you listen, the easier speaking will become. Your brain needs to hear the language many times before it can produce the language. This is why listening practice is so valuable and so important for your success. Let me tell you about my own experience with language learning. When I started learning English many years ago, I did not understand this importance of listening. I tried to memorize grammar rules. I tried to memorize long lists of vocabulary words. I spent hours reading textbooks. But when I tried to have a real conversation in English, I felt lost. I could not understand what people were saying to me. They spoke too fast. They used words I did not know. I felt embarrassed and discouraged. Then I discovered something that changed everything for me. I discovered that I needed to listen more. I started listening to English every single day. I listened to simple conversations. I listened to stories. I listened to podcasts. I listened to videos. At first, I did not understand everything, and that was okay. I just kept listening. After a few weeks, something amazing happened. I started to understand more and more. Words that were confusing before became clear. Sentences that were too fast before became normal. My ears got used to English. My brain got used to English. And slowly, naturally, my speaking also improved. This is why I am so passionate about teaching you the importance of listening today. I want you to have the same breakthrough that I had. I want you to experience the joy of understanding English naturally and easily. So, how do you practice listening in the right way? This is the big question, and I'm going to answer it step by step. The first step is to start with materials that match your level. This is very, very important. Many students make a mistake here. They try to listen to materials that are too difficult for them. They try to watch English movies with no subtitles when they are still beginners. They try to listen to fast native speakers when they can only understand slow speech. This approach does not work well. It makes you feel frustrated and tired. Instead, you should start with easy materials. If you are a beginner, listen to materials made for beginners. Listen to slow English. Listen to clear English. Listen to simple sentences. There is no shame in starting easy. Every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent English speaker started with simple words and simple sentences. You need to build your foundation slowly and strongly. Think of it like building a house. You cannot start with the roof. You need to start with the foundation. Easy listening materials are your foundation. As you practice and improve, you can move to more difficult materials. But always start where you are comfortable. Always start where you can understand at least 70% of what you hear. This 70% rule is very important. If you understand less than 70%, the material is too difficult. Choose something easier. If you understand 100%, the material might be too easy. Choose something a little more challenging. But 70 to 80% understanding is the perfect zone for learning. In this zone, you understand enough to follow the meaning, but you also meet new words and new expressions that help you grow. The second step is to listen actively, not passively. What does this mean? Let me explain. Passive listening is when you play English in the background while you do other things. Maybe you listen to English while you cook, while you clean your house, or while you drive your car. Passive listening is okay, and it has some benefits. It helps your ears get familiar with English sounds. But passive listening alone is not enough for real improvement. You also need active listening. Active listening is when you focus completely on what you are hearing. You sit down, you remove distractions, and you give your full attention to the English audio. You try to understand every word. You try to understand the meaning. You try to notice the pronunciation, the intonation, and the rhythm. Active listening is like exercise for your brain. It makes your listening skills stronger and stronger. I recommend that you do at least 20 to 30 minutes of active listening every day. During this time, turn off your phone. Close your computer. Find a quiet place. Just focus on listening. You will be amazed at how much faster you improve when you practice active listening regularly. Your brain will start to recognize patterns in English. You will start to predict what comes next in a sentence. You will start to understand faster and easier. This is the power of active listening, and it is one of the most important secrets to improving your English listening skills quickly. The third step is to use the technique called listen and repeat. This is a wonderful technique that combines listening and speaking practice. Here is how it works. You listen to a short sentence in English. Then you pause the audio. Then you repeat the sentence out loud exactly as you heard it. You try to copy the pronunciation, the intonation, and the rhythm. You try to sound exactly like the speaker. At first, this might feel difficult. You might not remember the whole sentence. That is okay. Just repeat what you remember. Then listen again and try to repeat more. Keep doing this until you can repeat the whole sentence smoothly and naturally. This technique is so powerful because it helps you in multiple ways. First, it improves your listening because you need to listen carefully to repeat correctly. Second, it improves your pronunciation because you are copying native speakers. Third, it improves your speaking because you are practicing saying sentences out loud. Fourth, it helps you remember vocabulary and grammar patterns because you are using them actively. Many of my students tell me that listen and repeat is the technique that helped them the most. They say it made their English sound more natural. They say it made their speaking more confident. I want you to try this technique starting today. Take any English audio that you like. It can be a lesson, a story, or a conversation. Listen to one sentence.
Pause.
Repeat it out loud. Do this for 10 or 15 minutes every day. After a few weeks, you will notice a big difference in your English skills. You will feel more confident. You will understand more. You will speak more naturally. This is the magic of listen and repeat. The fourth step is to listen to the same material multiple times. I want to emphasize this point because it is so important, but many students do not do it. In our modern world, we always want something new. We want new videos, new lessons, new content every day. But for language learning, repetition is more valuable than novelty. When you listen to the same material many times, something wonderful happens in your brain. The first time you listen, you understand the general idea. The second time you listen, you catch more details. The third time you listen, you notice words and phrases you missed before. The fourth time you listen, the language starts to feel familiar and comfortable. The fifth time you listen, you can almost predict what comes next. By the 10th time, the words and phrases become part of your natural English ability. They move from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. You do not need to think about them anymore. They just come naturally. This is why I recommend listening to the same lesson, the same story, or the same audio at least 5 to 10 times. Do not rush to new material. Stay with one piece of content until you really master it, until you understand every word, until the pronunciation feels natural to your ears, until you can repeat sentences easily. Then, and only then, should you move to new material. Quality is more important than quantity in language learning. It is better to deeply learn 10 lessons than to superficially listen to 100 lessons. So please be patient. Listen multiple times. Trust the process. Your brain needs repetition to learn. Give your brain what it needs, and you will see amazing results. The fifth step is to use transcripts wisely. A transcript is the written version of an audio. Many listening materials come with transcripts, and these can be very helpful tools if you use them correctly. But there is a right way and a wrong way to use transcripts. The wrong way is to read the transcript while you listen for the first time. If you do this, you are really practicing reading, not listening. Your eyes will follow the text, and your ears will not work hard. This does not improve your listening skills. The right way to use transcripts is this. First, listen to the audio without looking at the transcript. Try to understand as much as possible using only your ears. Listen 2 or 3 times. Then, if you still have parts you do not understand, look at the transcript. Read while you listen and try to connect the sounds with the written words. This helps you understand difficult parts. After you read the transcript, put it away, and listen again without it. Now you will understand more because you learned the difficult parts. This method helps your listening skills grow stronger. The transcript is like training wheels on a bicycle. You can use it to help you when needed, but your goal is to eventually ride without it. Another good way to use transcripts is for vocabulary learning. After you finish listening, read the transcript and write down new words. Look up their meanings. Make example sentences. Then listen to the audio again and try to hear these new words in context. This helps you remember the vocabulary much better than just memorizing from a list. So transcripts are valuable tools, but use them as support, not as a replacement for listening. Your ears need to do the work. The transcript is just there to help when your ears need a little extra support. Now, let me talk about different types of listening materials you can use for practice. There are so many options available today, and this is wonderful. First, you can use listening lessons specifically designed for English learners. These are excellent for beginners because they use clear pronunciation, simple vocabulary, and slower speed. Websites and apps like English Lab, VOA Learning English, and British Council have great materials for learners. Second, you can listen to podcasts. Podcasts are like radio shows that you can download and listen to anytime. There are podcasts about every topic you can imagine. Some podcasts are made for English learners, and they speak slowly and clearly. Other podcasts are for native speakers, and they speak at normal speed. Start with learner podcasts and gradually move to native podcasts as you improve. Third, you can watch videos. YouTube has millions of English videos. You can find lessons, stories, documentaries, and entertainment. Again, start with videos for learners, then progress to native content. Fourth, you can listen to audiobooks. An audiobook is someone reading a book out loud. This is wonderful for listening practice because the language is usually well written and clear. Start with simple stories or children's books if you are a beginner. As you improve, you can listen to more complex books. Fifth, you can listen to English music. Songs are fun, and they help you remember words and phrases because of the melody and rhythm. However, be careful because song lyrics are sometimes poetic and do not always follow normal grammar rules. Use songs for fun and motivation, but do not use them as your only listening material. Sixth, you can listen to news programs. News programs use clear professional pronunciation, and they cover current events. This is good for intermediate and advanced learners. Beginners might find news too difficult because it uses specific vocabulary and speaks about complex topics. Seventh, you can listen to conversations between native speakers. This is the most challenging type of listening because people speak naturally, quickly, and they use idioms and slang. Save this for when you have a good foundation in English. The key is to use a variety of materials to keep your practice interesting and to expose yourself to different accents, different speaking styles, and different vocabulary. Variety makes learning more enjoyable and more complete. Let me give you a practice schedule that you can follow. Consistency is more important than intensity in language learning. It is better to practice 30 minutes every day than to practice 3 hours once a week. Your brain learns better with regular exposure. So here is a schedule I recommend. Every morning, spend 10 to 15 minutes listening to something in English. This could be a simple conversation, a short story, or a learning podcast. Do this right after you wake up. Your mind is fresh in the morning, and this sets a positive tone for your day. It tells your brain that English is important. During your commute or while doing chores, you can do passive listening. Play English audio in the background. This is not focus practice, but it helps your ears stay familiar with English sounds. In the afternoon or evening, spend 20 to 30 minutes on active listening practice. This is your main practice session. Choose your material, sit down, focus completely, and practice with intention. Use the techniques I taught you earlier. Listen actively, repeat sentences, and really concentrate. Before you go to bed, spend another 10 minutes listening to something relaxing in English. This could be a calm story, a meditation in English, or a peaceful podcast. This helps your brain process English even while you sleep. Scientists have shown that our brains continue to learn and organize information during sleep. So listening before bed is a smart strategy. This schedule gives you about 1 hour of English listening per day, with 2 focus practice sessions and some background exposure. If you follow this schedule consistently for 3 months, you will see dramatic improvement in your listening ability. You will understand faster, you will recognize more words, and you will feel much more confident with English. Remember, consistency is the secret. Even on busy days, try to do at least 10 or 15 minutes. Never skip more than 1 day. Make English listening a daily habit like brushing your teeth. When it becomes a habit, it becomes easy and natural. Now I want to talk about some common problems that students face with listening practice and how to solve them. The first problem is that students say English speakers talk too fast. This is a very common complaint, but actually the speed is not really the problem. The real problem is that you are not yet familiar enough with English sounds and words. Think about your native language. Do people speak slowly in your language? No, they speak at normal speed. But you understand them easily because you have heard your language thousands and thousands of times since you were a baby. You need to give yourself the same gift in English. You need to listen thousands of times until normal speed feels comfortable. In the beginning, yes, start with slow materials, but gradually increase the speed. Most video players and audio apps let you adjust the playback speed. Start at 75% speed if normal speed is too fast. Practice at this speed until it feels easy. Then move to 85% speed. Then 90%. Then 100%. This gradual progression helps your brain adapt without feeling overwhelmed. Another solution is to listen to the same audio at different speeds. Listen once at slow speed, once at normal speed, and once at fast speed. This trains your ears to be flexible and to catch English at any speed. Over time, what once seemed impossibly fast will sound perfectly normal. You just need patience and practice. The second problem is that students say they forget what they hear immediately. They understand while listening, but seconds later they cannot remember what was said. This is frustrating, but it is also completely normal for language learners. This happens because your brain is working so hard to decode the English sounds that it does not have energy left to store the information in memory. The solution is to reduce the difficulty of what you listen to and to practice more. When materials are too difficult, your brain uses all its energy just to understand the words, so nothing stays in memory. Choose easier materials where you understand 70 to 80% comfortably. At this level, your brain has extra capacity to remember the content. Also, practice active listening where you summarize what you heard after each section. Listen to a short part, then pause and say in your own words what you understood. This active engagement helps your memory. Another technique is to take simple notes while listening. Write down keywords or main ideas. This physical action of writing helps your brain process and store the information better. With regular practice, your listening stamina will improve, and you will naturally remember more of what you hear. The third problem is that students understand individual words but cannot understand the complete message. They catch words here and there, but cannot piece together the full meaning. This is like catching a few puzzle pieces but not seeing the complete picture. This problem happens because students focus too much on individual words instead of overall meaning. The solution is to practice listening for gist. Gist means the general idea or main point. When you listen, do not try to understand every single word. Instead, try to answer simple questions like, what is the topic? Who is speaking? What is the main message? Is it positive or negative? When you focus on overall meaning instead of individual words, you actually understand more. Your brain can use context to fill in missing pieces. This is how native speakers listen too. They do not consciously process every single word. They grasp the flow of meaning. Practice this by listening to content slightly above your level, but focusing only on main ideas. Ask yourself, what is this about? What is the speaker trying to say? Let go of the need to understand every word. This shift in mindset will make listening much less stressful and much more successful. As your skills improve, you will naturally catch more details, but always prioritize understanding the main message first. The fourth problem is that students get discouraged when they do not see fast progress. They practice for a few weeks and feel disappointed that they are not fluent yet. Listen, I need to tell you something important. Language learning is not linear. It does not progress in a straight line upward. Sometimes you will improve quickly. Sometimes you will feel stuck at the same level for weeks. This is called a plateau, and every language learner experiences plateaus. They are a normal part of the learning journey. During a plateau, it feels like you are not improving, but actually your brain is consolidating all the learning you have done. It is organizing information, making connections, and preparing for your next breakthrough. The key is to not give up during plateau periods. Keep practicing consistently even when you do not see obvious progress. Then suddenly, one day, you will have a breakthrough. You will understand something that was impossible before. You will catch fast speech that used to sound like noise. You will have a conversation that flows naturally. These breakthroughs are magical moments, and they make all the practice worthwhile. But they only come if you persist through the plateaus. So please be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Notice when you understand one more word than yesterday. Notice when one sentence sounds clear. These small improvements accumulate and lead to big success. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Steady, consistent practice always wins. Let me now talk specifically about TOEFL listening and give you some strategies for the test. Even if you are not taking TOEFL, these strategies will help you improve your academic listening skills. In the TOEFL listening section, you will hear lectures and conversations from university settings. The lectures are usually 5 to 6 minutes long, and they cover academic topics like science, history, art, or literature. The conversations are shorter, about 3 minutes, and they happen between students and professors or between students and university staff. After each listening passage, you will answer questions about what you heard. You cannot take notes during TOEFL listening, which makes it challenging. Wait, I made an error there. Actually, you can take notes during TOEFL listening. This is very helpful. Let me correct that. During the TOEFL listening section, you are allowed to take notes, and you should definitely do this. Good note-taking helps you remember important information and answer questions correctly. Here are some strategies for TOEFL listening success. Strategy number 1 is to preview the context before you listen. Before each audio begins, the screen shows you a picture and tells you the context. For example, it might say, "Listen to a conversation between a student and a librarian," or "Listen to part of a lecture in a biology class." Pay attention to this information. It helps you prepare mentally for what you will hear. If you know the topic is biology, your brain will activate biology vocabulary that you know. This makes understanding easier. Strategy number 2 is to listen for the main idea first. In TOEFL questions, there is always a main idea question. Something like, "What is the lecture mainly about?" Or, "Why does the student visit the professor?" Focus on understanding the overall purpose and main topic. Do not worry about small details in the beginning. The main idea is usually stated early in the lecture or conversation, so listen carefully to the introduction. Strategy number 3 is to listen for signal words. Signal words are words that tell you something important is coming. For example, words like however, therefore, the important thing is, remember that, or let me emphasize all signal that key information follows. When you hear these words, pay extra attention and write them down in your notes. Strategy number 4 is to take smart notes. You cannot write everything, so you need to write only key information. Write main topics, important names, key dates, and signal words. Use abbreviations to write faster. For example, write W/ instead of with and because instead of because. Use symbols like arrows to show cause and effect or relationships between ideas. Your notes do not need to be pretty. They just need to help you remember. Strategy number 5 is to listen for speaker attitude and purpose. TOEFL questions often ask about what the speaker implies or what the speaker's attitude is. Listen to the tone of voice. Does the speaker sound excited, worried, doubtful, or confident? These emotional cues give you extra information beyond just the words. Strategy number 6 is to stay focused even if you miss something. In a long lecture, you might miss a sentence or not understand a part. This is okay. Do not panic and do not stop listening to think about what you missed. Keep moving forward. Often, the speaker will repeat important information or explain it in a different way later. If you stop to worry about what you missed, you will miss even more. Stay calm and keep listening. Strategy number 7 is to practice with real TOEFL materials. Many books and websites offer TOEFL practice tests. These are valuable because they show you exactly what the test is like. You learn the format, the types of questions, and the level of difficulty. Practice with these materials regularly, especially in the month before your test. Time yourself so you get used to answering questions within the time limit. Beyond these specific TOEFL strategies, the best preparation is simply to improve your overall listening skills. If your general English listening ability is strong, you will find TOEFL listening much easier. This is why I have spent most of this lesson teaching you fundamental listening skills that work for any situation. These skills are the foundation. The TOEFL strategies are just specific techniques you add on top of that foundation. So keep practicing every day with the methods I taught you earlier. Listen actively, repeat sentences, listen multiple times to the same material, and use a variety of listening sources. Build your listening stamina so you can focus for long periods. Build your vocabulary so you recognize more words. Build your familiarity with different accents so you can understand various speakers. All of this general practice makes you a stronger listener, and a stronger listener will do well on TOEFL or any other test. Now, let me share with you some resources where you can practice listening for free. The internet has made language learning so much more accessible and affordable. First, YouTube is an incredible resource. You can find thousands of English learning channels. Look for channels like English Lab, Learn English with TV series, BBC Learning English, and Engvid. These channels offer lessons, stories, and conversations for learners at all levels. Second, podcasts are wonderful for listening practice. Some good podcasts for learners include ESL Pod, which unfortunately stopped making new episodes but has hundreds of archived lessons available, All Ears English, which teaches American English and culture, and 6-Minute English by BBC, which offers short, interesting lessons perfect for busy people. Third, websites like ESL Lab and ELLO offer free listening exercises with comprehension questions. You can check your understanding immediately. Fourth, apps like Spotify and YouTube Music have many audiobooks and English learning content. Fifth, websites of news organizations like BBC News, CNN Student News, and NPR offer audio and video content. Start with student or learning sections, which use clear language. Sixth, the official TOEFL website offers free sample questions so you can see what the test is like. Seventh, your local library might offer free access to language learning resources like Mango Languages or Pronunciator through their digital collection. Many people do not know about these free library resources. Check your library's website or ask a librarian. With all these resources, you have absolutely no excuse not to practice. You do not need to spend money. You just need to spend time and effort. Choose resources that you find interesting and enjoyable because you will practice more consistently when you actually like what you are listening to. Let me also talk about the connection between listening and other English skills. Listening does not exist in isolation. It connects deeply with speaking, reading, writing, and even thinking in English. When you improve your listening, you automatically improve your speaking.
Why?
Because you hear correct pronunciation, natural intonation, and useful expressions. Your mouth learns to copy what your ears hear. This is why babies can speak their native language perfectly even though nobody taught them grammar rules. They just listened and copied. You can use the same natural method. The more you listen to good English, the better your speaking becomes. Listening also improves your reading. Many words in English are not pronounced the way they are spelled. When you only read, you might pronounce words incorrectly in your mind. But when you listen, you learn the correct pronunciation. Then when you see the written word, you recognize it because you have heard it before. This makes reading faster and easier. Listening improves your writing too. When you listen to well-structured sentences and clear expressions, your brain absorbs these patterns. Then when you write, you naturally use these patterns. You develop a sense of what sounds right and what sounds wrong in English. This intuitive sense is very valuable. Finally, listening helps you think in English. At first, when you listen to English, your brain translates everything to your native language. This is slow and tiring. But as you listen more and more, something amazing happens. Your brain starts to understand English directly, without translating. You hear an English sentence and you just understand it immediately. You do not need to convert it to your language first. This is called thinking in English, and it is a major milestone in fluency. Once you can think in English, everything becomes easier and faster. Speaking flows naturally. Understanding happens automatically. Listening practice is the key to reaching this level. So when you practice listening, remember that you are not just improving one skill. You are improving your entire English ability. You are building a strong foundation that supports all other skills. This is why listening practice gives you such amazing results. I want to spend a moment talking about motivation because staying motivated is one of the biggest challenges in language learning. At the beginning, you feel excited and motivated. Learning is new and interesting. But after a few weeks or months, the excitement fades. Practice becomes routine or even boring. Progress seems slow. This is when many people give up. Do not let this happen to you. Here are some ways to stay motivated. First, remember your why. Why did you start learning English? Maybe you want to get a better job. Maybe you want to study abroad. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to enjoy English movies and books. Maybe you want to make friends from other countries. Whatever your reason is, write it down. Put it somewhere you can see it every day. When you feel like giving up, read your reason and remember why you started. Your dream is worth the effort. Second, set small, achievable goals. Do not just say, I want to be fluent. That is too big and vague. Instead say, this week I will listen to English for 30 minutes every day, or this month I will finish 10 listening lessons. Small goals are easier to achieve, and each achievement gives you a sense of progress. Celebrate when you reach these small goals. Celebrating creates positive emotions, and positive emotions fuel motivation. Third, make learning enjoyable. If listening practice feels like punishment, you will not continue. Find content that you actually find interesting or entertaining. If you love cooking, listen to cooking shows in English. If you love sports, listen to sports commentary. If you love stories, listen to audiobooks. When learning is fun, it does not feel like work. You will actually look forward to your practice time. Fourth, track your progress visually. Use a calendar or a journal to mark every day you practice. Seeing a long chain of successful days makes you want to keep the chain going.
You do not want to break the chain.
This simple trick is very powerful for building habits. Fifth, find a learning community. Connect with other people who are learning English. This could be online in forums or social media groups, or in person in a language exchange meetup. When you share your journey with others, you feel less alone. You can encourage each other. You can share resources and tips. You can celebrate successes together and support each other through challenges. Community makes learning more enjoyable and more sustainable. Sixth, be kind to yourself. You will have bad days. Days when you are tired and do not want to practice. Days when English seems impossibly difficult. Days when you make mistakes and feel embarrassed. This is all normal and okay. Do not beat yourself up. Do not say mean things to yourself like, I am stupid, or I will never learn. These negative thoughts hurt your motivation. Instead, treat yourself like you would treat a good friend. Be encouraging. Be patient. Be understanding. Tell yourself, learning is hard, but I am doing my best. I will keep trying and I will improve. This positive self-talk protects your motivation and helps you persist through difficult times. Let me tell you something else that is very important. Making mistakes is a necessary part of learning. Many students are afraid of mistakes. They want to be perfect. They feel ashamed when they do not understand something or when they make an error. This fear of mistakes is actually one of the biggest obstacles to learning. Please listen carefully to what I am about to say. Mistakes are not your enemy. Mistakes are your teacher. Every mistake shows you something you need to learn. Every mistake is an opportunity to improve. When you make a mistake, you should feel happy, not sad, because now you know what to work on. The best learners are not the people who never make mistakes. The best learners are the people who make mistakes, learn from them, and try again. Think about a baby learning to walk. The baby falls down many times. Does the baby feel ashamed? Does the baby give up?
No.
The baby just keeps trying. Fall down, get up, try again. Fall down, get up, try again. Eventually, the baby learns to walk. You need the same attitude with English. You will not understand everything. You will make pronunciation errors. You will confuse words. You will misunderstand meanings. This is absolutely normal and expected. Each of these experiences teaches you something valuable. So please, release your fear of mistakes. Embrace mistakes as part of the journey. When you do not understand something in a listening exercise, that is useful information. Now, you know you need to work on that particular sound, word, or grammar structure. When you feel comfortable making mistakes, you learn much faster because you are willing to try, to experiment, and to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. Progress lives outside your comfort zone, so you must be brave enough to go there. Let me share a story with you to illustrate this point. I once had a student named Maria. Maria was very smart and studied English grammar perfectly. She could explain complex grammar rules. She knew thousands of vocabulary words. But she was terrified of speaking and listening. She was afraid that people would judge her accent. She was afraid that she would not understand and would look stupid. Because of this fear, she avoided real conversations. She only studied from textbooks. After many months, she realized that her English was not improving. She could read well, but she could not communicate. She came to me frustrated and discouraged. I told her that she needed to change her approach. She needed to practice listening and speaking even if she made mistakes. She needed to stop worrying about being perfect and start focusing on communicating. She was scared, but she decided to try. She started listening to English podcasts every day. She joined an online conversation group. At first, it was very difficult. She made many mistakes. Sometimes people did not understand her. Sometimes she did not understand them. But she kept going. She reminded herself that mistakes were okay. Slowly, week by week, she improved. After 3 months, she had a breakthrough. She had a 30-minute conversation in English about movies, and she understood everything. She expressed her opinions clearly. She laughed and joked. After the conversation, she messaged me with so much joy. She said she felt like she had finally broken through a wall. The fear was gone. The confidence was there. This transformation happened because she changed her attitude about mistakes. She stopped seeing them as failures and started seeing them as stepping stones. You can have the same transformation. You just need to be brave and give yourself permission to be imperfect. Permission to be a learner. permission to grow at your own pace. Now, let me give you some practical tips specifically for improving your listening comprehension. First, work on your vocabulary. The more words you know, the easier listening becomes. But how should you learn vocabulary for listening? Not by memorizing lists. Instead, learn vocabulary in context through listening itself. When you hear a new word in a listening exercise, write it down. Look up the meaning. But then, and this is important, listen to that same audio again. Hear the word in its natural context. Notice how it is pronounced. Notice what words come before and after it. This context helps you remember the word much better than a list. Make a vocabulary journal where you write new words, their meanings, and an example sentence from where you heard them. Review this journal regularly. Second, work on your pronunciation knowledge. Understanding pronunciation helps listening. Learn about connected speech, where words blend together. Learn about word stress, where one syllable in a word is stronger. Learn about sentence stress, where important words are emphasized. Learn about intonation, how the voice goes up and down. When you understand these features of spoken English, listening becomes much clearer. Many students learn pronunciation only for speaking, but it is equally important for listening. When you know that native speakers reduce and connect words, you stop expecting to hear every word clearly and separately. You understand that want to sounds like wanna and going to sounds like gonna. This knowledge makes fast, natural speech much easier to understand. Third, practice predicting what comes next. Good listeners do not just passively receive information. They actively predict. When you hear the beginning of a sentence, your brain guesses what might come next. This prediction helps you understand faster. You can practice this skill by pausing audio in the middle of a sentence and trying to guess what comes next. Then listen and see if you were right. Even if your prediction is wrong, this exercise makes your brain more active and engaged. Over time, you'll get better at predicting and your listening comprehension will improve significantly. Fourth, learn common phrases and expressions. Native speakers use certain phrases over and over again. Phrases like, by the way, as a matter of fact, it turns out that, to be honest, and hundreds of others. When you know these common phrases, you recognize them instantly when listening. They become like familiar friends. You can make a list of common phrases and practice listening for them. When you hear one in real English, you will feel happy because you recognize it. This recognition builds confidence and makes listening more enjoyable. Fifth, expose yourself to different accents. English is spoken all over the world, and people speak it with many different accents. American English sounds different from British English. Australian English sounds different from Indian English. If you only practice with one accent, you might struggle to understand other accents. Try to listen to a variety of accents regularly. This trains your ears to be flexible. You learn to focus on the meaning rather than getting distracted by an unfamiliar accent. This is especially important for tests like TOEFL, which can include speakers with different accents. Sixth, improve your general knowledge. Listening comprehension is not just about language. It is also about knowledge of the world. If you listen to a lecture about climate change, you will understand it better if you already know something about climate change. Background knowledge gives you context. It helps you predict vocabulary. It makes the topic more interesting. So read about various topics. Watch documentaries. Learn about science, history, art, technology, and current events. This general knowledge will support your English listening in powerful ways. When you hear a familiar topic, you will understand much more easily because you can use your background knowledge to fill in gaps and make connections. Let me also talk about the importance of consistency versus intensity in your practice. Some students think they should study English for many hours on the weekend, but then not practice during the week. This approach is not very effective. Your brain learns better with regular, consistent exposure. It is much better to practice 30 minutes every single day than to practice 3 hours once a week. Daily practice keeps English fresh in your mind. It builds momentum. It creates habits. When you practice every day, English becomes part of your daily life rather than a special separate activity. Your brain starts to expect English input every day, and it prepares for it. This makes learning easier and more natural. I know that life is busy. You have work or school. You have family responsibilities. You have other commitments. But I promise you, you can find 30 minutes a day for English. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Use your commute time. Practice during lunch break. Listen before bed. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Successful language learners are not people with more time. They are people who make English a priority. They are people who commit to daily practice no matter what. So, I challenge you today to make a commitment. Commit to practicing English listening every single day for the next 90 days. 90 days is about 3 months. This is enough time to see real, significant improvement. Write down your commitment.
Tell someone about it.
This makes it more real and more likely that you will follow through. After 90 days of consistent practice, you will be amazed at how much you have improved. Your ears will be tuned to English. Your comprehension will be faster. Your confidence will be higher. And you will have built a strong habit that you can continue for years to come. Now I want to address something that many students ask me about. They ask, should I use subtitles when I watch English videos? This is a great question, and the answer is it depends on your goal and your level. Let me explain the different options. Option 1 is watching with subtitles in your native language. This is the easiest option because you understand everything. However, this does not really improve your English listening because you are reading in your language, not listening in English. This option is fine if your goal is just to enjoy the content and relax, but it does not help your listening skills much. Option 2 is watching with English subtitles. This is better for learning because you are seeing English words while hearing English words. This helps you connect the written form with the spoken form. It helps you learn how words are pronounced. It helps you notice vocabulary and expressions. However, you still need to be careful. If you focus too much on reading the subtitles, your ears do not work hard. Your eyes do all the work and your listening does not improve as much. Option 3 is watching without any subtitles. This is the most challenging option, but also the best for improving listening skills. Your ears have to work hard. Your brain has to process spoken language without help from text. This builds strong listening abilities. So, what should you do? I recommend a mixed approach. If you are a beginner, start with English subtitles. They help you understand and build confidence. But try to look at the subtitles only when you need help. Try to listen first and look at subtitles second. As you improve to intermediate level, start using content without subtitles for part of your practice. Maybe practice with subtitles for half the time and without subtitles for half the time. As you become more advanced, Use subtitles less and less. Challenge yourself to watch full videos without subtitles. At first, this will be difficult. You might not understand everything. But remember, you do not need to understand every word to enjoy content. If you understand 60 to 70%, you can follow the story or the message. And the more you practice without subtitles, the easier it becomes. Your ears become stronger and more capable. So use subtitles as a learning tool when needed, but always work toward the goal of understanding without them. That is where real listening freedom lies. Let me give you another important piece of advice. Choose content that genuinely interests you. This might seem obvious, but many students choose materials based on what they think they should study rather than what they actually enjoy. They force themselves to listen to boring topics because someone said it is good for learning. But here is the truth. You will learn much more from content you love than from content you tolerate.
Why?
Because you will actually do it. You will listen more often. You will listen more carefully. You will enjoy the process. Learning happens best when you are engaged and interested. So think about your hobbies and interests. Do you love cooking? Listen to cooking shows and recipes in English. Do you love sports? Listen to sports commentary and analysis. Do you love true crime stories? There are hundreds of crime podcasts in English. Do you love self-improvement? Listen to motivational speakers and personal development content. Do you love technology? Listen to tech news and reviews. Do you love history? Listen to history documentaries and podcasts. Whatever you naturally love, find English content about that topic. When you combine language learning with your genuine interests, learning stops feeling like work.